All of those people united on one thing. They're united against As-Sabiqun. They're united against our movement. Okay. They've developed organizations, whole organizations, Manna and others, to be against what we're about. We're not welcome on any venues. We're not catered to about what we think about one subject or another. We're more thought of overseas by the numbers than we are here. But we have friends all over the Muslim world. In Kashmir, the Kashmiri movement. We have friends, we've spoken at these venues, in Pakistan, to Pakistanis, to Kashmiris, to Muslims in South Africa who are of Indian and Malay origin, and many Africans themselves. So we have friends all over the world. We have associations all over the world. So because the United States government have been so effective to try to isolate us, to try to cut us off, that hasn't been possible. We have outlets technically all over the world, okay? And we have a symbiotic relationship with the most revolutionary country in the world today, or evolutionary country, because we believe they had a revolution, but they're going through an evolutionary process within that revolution. The other thing is being raised as a representative of history and as a representative of the oppressed. When we talked a minute ago about from Stalingrad to Oakland, we were given some historical background. When Operation Barbarossa in the summer 1941, when Hitler attacked the Soviet Union at that time, they almost just ran over Russia, all the way, over 1,000 miles. Russia used the scorched earth policy. They burned all their buildings, they dismantled all their factories and took them back beyond the range of the German army. Stalingrad is where they stopped the advance of the German army. And from then on, it was defeat for the German army. 5 out of 6 German soldiers killed during World War II were killed by Russians. 27 million Russians died in World War II. 27 million Russians died in World War II. Once the German army reached Stalingrad, now they call it Volgograd, the Eastern Front for the Germans became a disaster. We say from Stalingrad to Oakland. Why do we say that? It is because we are a representative of the oppressed during these times. That's just the way it goes. And our representation means we're going to tell you our story, no matter what anybody thinks about it, and we're going to tell it so they can't tell their story. You know the story I'm telling you now has been told over and over so many times that you can, if you didn't heard it once, you didn't heard them all just about. Why? Is it repetitive? Because after something happens, many people try to change the narrative. You won't be able to change it on us. Oh, they're going to say some little thing about this. But anybody that wants to research this period of time, all they'll have to go is to this spot, and that spot, and it'll be the research engine. That's where you need to go. You want to know about this period of Islamic movement, this period of American history, right? This period of the, whether it's assassination plots, whether it's World Trade Center plots, 1 and 2, whatever they are, you can come to us and you can get a prepared statement. As I showed you, you won't get none of this. Can you imagine? Conference focuses on how social invisibility of American Muslims lead to psychological trauma and suffering. The brothers have invisualized, they didn't disappear themselves. Tell the truth. Nobody was preventing them. I'm telling you, we were the only Muslims down there. Maybe there was some other cities. I didn't see them, nor have I heard about it. Okay. The trauma they're suffering is because they produced the trauma themselves. They have made themselves unimportant. And they have made themselves ineffective. They have made themselves invisible. And that invisible, this must be a precursor to what just happened down there. They wrote this thing 2 years ago. What was it? 2007? That's 3 years ago. This is a prediction for now. It's a perfect prediction. Invisible, causing trauma. Oh, I'm upset. You upset because you're not reading the Quran, not understanding the Quran. The hadith is clear. You see wrong, stop it with your hand. If you can't speak out about it, at least feel bad about it, but that's the weakest kind of faith. We're warned against oppression. Why? It says, because be careful about the oppressed, because there's no barrier between the doer and the oppressed and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This was the hadith. Right? So, we're not arrogant here. We're just not afraid of boss man. It takes a while, but after a while, after you're not afraid, you're just not afraid. And boss man can jump up and down and do anything he wants. And it don't bother us, nor we are not afraid of you cutting us off and isolating us and segregating us over here by ourselves. We're not afraid of that. You know why? Because if they choose teams, this is a bad team, or the bums, or the fraidy cats, and this over here is the serious folks. Suppose there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 people over there, and 1 million over there. Who you think I'm going to get with? I'm going to say, I'm with y'all. I don't want to be with 1 million, not cowards or anything like that. Just don't say that. It's terrible language. But we're going to stay up on what modern times say. Modern times say this lady here don't seem to know nothing about Islam, and she just hooked up something a few years ago. And what was it? Was it millions or hundreds of thousands? at least 1 million people. Women came. She said she was asleep one night and just jumped up and hit the computer and brought all those people. That's a bunch of bull crap. That was organized. Can you see it? Remember all them buses parking, all those people coming in groups after group after group. They used her, and now you can't find her. This boy here is Dear Meeks. Khalil Meeks, Executive Director of MLFA, whatever that is, Muslim Legal. Now I did a program with him. In fact, I introduced late last year, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, one of our lovely brothers. They was doing a fundraiser for them. In fact, they wasn't doing a fundraiser. They was doing a fundraiser for the school, I think on November the 8th of last year. But they called him to do, he had an emergency program because they needed money on the 7th, whatever that Saturday night. So when I picked up a flyer, I said, hey man, first there was no flyers about that program. Then all of a sudden, I think that they had it because of me, but it don't make no difference what I think. Anyway, I went to the program, and all the people was there. And in fact, some of the foreigners were, hey, look who's here, Big Hank. Now, they don't know nothing about no Big Hank. They don't know nothing about no. So somebody, as soon as they said that, I said, okay, fine. Then there was a couple of Negroes there that was 100% against me, 100%. And you talking about jealous and that type of thing. And then all of a sudden they're asking me, Imam Musa, would you announce the program? Would you know what I mean? I said, sure. So I got up. Now, you should have seen how mad they was. They was mad and jealous. You could see it dripping all out there. I mean, these were the two specialists. Because I said, As-Salamu Alaikum, how y'all doing and all that? And they scrunched all up. I said, good God Almighty. And then, that ain't nothing. When I got up and started announcing the program and this is da-da-da-da-da, and then everybody, you got to remember, everybody was there watching. And in Oakland, they was happy that they thought that they had cut off, access to everything. And here I am, da-da-da-da. Then when Brother Mahmoud was giving a speech, he mentioned some things, I didn't ask him to, but he mentioned some things a few things that were pretty good. So if he's saying it, and all these other people are watching, these people are there that are watching. Most of them don't know me. Remember, I've been here for 30 years. We helped everything get started out there. The same center that was the biggest center in the region, we helped get all of them started, or the ones that lead to that one. Anyway, so at that program, they raised a ton of money. Somebody gave, 2 or 3 people gave, 4 people gave $25,000, and others gave, I don't know, let's say they raised a couple $100,000. Then the guy, this old Meeks, I knew something was up because he gave the khutbah, Khalil Meeks, and he was talking about how he always wanted to be a Baptist preacher. And I just looked at him and I said, see, as far as I can see, you're still one, And he's European, he's white. That puts the rest of the Muslims there, Indo-Pakistanis, Arabs, in ruku. Ruku. And they act like it. In ruku. He's telling them, he talked about the 8 organizations, Holy Land Foundation and all those guys that had been destroyed, but he didn't know nothing about us. And you know what he said about them? He said the government brought them all down, but none of them were revived. In other words, none of them, they're all charity organizations. None of them were revived. He started giving a list of the people, because right here it says, what does it say? Non-profit law center serving the legal needs of Muslims in America. The law center provides free, direct, legal representation to beneficiaries. Now, I was there with him. I said, man, let me have your card. I give you a call. You gonna put us to work? I said, yes, sir. Got plenty of work for you. I called him, and some of the people here called him too. What old Khalil did was, he said, first of all, he didn't call me if I don't know when. Then he called me and says, I looked up your name, and he says, I want to read you something. He read me what the white folks say about me, you know. He's an anti-Semite, he's a this, that, and another. And then he says, before he finished, he says, is this accurate? I said, no, it ain't accurate, and it ain't true. And he kept reading. Because the CARE and them guys, they have a thing that if you kind of guilty of something, you can call it a day. So he's reading what they say about me as though they're telling the truth. The other thing was, when he related all of those, the legal crew, all of them were ex-State Department lawyers, ex this and that. I said, man, I don't want the police, them people. And see, the Muslims don't know that. They think it gives them access. And he was giving his talk, he said, you have to get involved in the law, because whether it's civil rights or human rights, the law, they all get involved. And I said, the law? I said, voting rights and all of that? I said, they give you that today and take it right back. So I was thinking he was 100% wrong. But he was there to get them to vote and to push America's platform. You want to get involved in America? You'll get involved this way. And you hire the people that they like. If they like them, then they don't like you. As simple as that. They don't realize that. The people, it's hilarious. Look, man, don't look. America, I can't stop laughing. I'll be watching the news. So, the white folks was giving news was giving some rendition of the things that they heard, you know, from Donald Trump. Not only what we heard, we've seen him, and we heard most of them. And Don just said something. Imagine the generals, all the big generals. You gotta imagine all them big generals talking against Don. You gotta also think about the themes in many movies. The Rock, soul movie. What's The Rock? Disgruntled colonels, generals, right? Special squad, they take over Alcatraz, they do that. I want to ask you, or suggest to you, how many disgruntled generals are there? You know how they are. Our boys. When you should have seen Sensheki, the Japanese guy, years ago, they put him over, he was a 3-star general in the Air Force, they put him over homelessness. Remember that? Years ago, General Sensheki. At that time, it was 250,000 vets, homeless vets. How long do you think these guys, they're all American Europeans, but how long can they take? You know, sometimes they moved all inside the government and they think, I'm in here, but my boys, look what they're doing to them. Look what they're doing to my boys. And who's doing it? Those cone-headed, pin-necked politicians. Think about it. You got to think about who's in your army.
That avoided going to.
Avoided.
Special privileges.
Special privileges, they run off and they had all the guys. Now this is not only the very top, but I want you to think about all the veterans groups now that are waving the flag. And they sent them to Iraq, no weapons of mass destruction. And everything they've done, they sent them to Afghanistan for 18 years, and they can't get out now. Right? Okay, imagine the colonels and the captains. And also pretty soon, the sergeants and the soldiers. Man, we went over there and they blowed our legs off. Think about these guys walking on stilts now. They lost their legs over there for a lie. See, that's the thing. You got to think about it now. Everybody knows that they were sent over there for a lie. And the old general walking down by the White House, his bosses from years ago, when he was junior, and called him and said, man, you're a damn fool. Walking out there with that man, and he making a fool out of you. Look what they did to us. Here's a guy, he went to military school, but he wasn't at no history class. He went to no history class. Why? They said something about Frederick Douglass. He said, he's doing fine. Did you hear that? You didn't hear that? Did anybody? He said, check on their president's statement, Frederick Douglass. Just put Frederick Douglass and Trump. He said, Frederick Douglass, you think I'm lying? I'm going to sit here till you pull it up. I'm not really, but he said it. He said it, and everybody heard it. There's so many things, and they're not hypocrites. Did you see the Kenty Cloth crew lately on the news? Taking a knee? These people you may not